Hello and welcome to Petrol Media Inc. I'm your host Terrence, and today we are doing some upgrade work. Now, a few months ago, I had a conversation with Mike at MPC Stuff, and we were discussing, an upgrade that I wanted to do. There's a gentleman in, I think, Japan, Ghost and MPC, who did a modified version of the MPC 1000, the colorway that I thought for the 1000 was really, really beautiful, mainly because it reminded me so much of the 2000 XL. And I was so enamored by it that I thought about ordering the mod from him, but the cost was a bit much. And it's not to put a damper on his work, because honestly, the man does amazing work. And if you can't do the mods yourself, there's no reason why you shouldn't pay somebody to do the work. And his work is exceptional. My work is okay, but it's okay for my needs. And because Mike was considering doing a similar colorway, I decided to reach out to him to discuss the possibilities. And luckily, he actually ordered in a couple. So I have here the 2000 XL colorway for my MPC 1000. And I did some mods for it. He didn't have the gray side panels that I wanted to make this all come together really nice. However, he did have the clear ones, and I found the correct gray to color match to make it all work. And the end result, I think, is pretty phenomenal. So I'm gonna take you through the process of how we got the gray panels to this color and putting this whole thing together from scratch. And this is my micro MPC 2000 XL. I think that's what I'm gonna call it for now. I know it's just a 1000, but the 1000 behaves so much like the 2000 XL that I really fell in love with it from day one, outside of the pads for the blue ones that I had. But the black one's been great. It's been an amazing unit since I got it. I have the SoundMod.io battery set up inside of here. I installed 2 batteries. I get like 6 hours of time out of this machine. It's in my lap. That's why I keep looking down at it. And the machine itself is pretty rock solid. It's one of my favorite MPC units that I've ever owned. As much as I want to get a 2000 XL, the prices were just too much. I think you're gonna enjoy what we have in store going forward. So enough of me talking. I'm gonna go ahead and jump into putting this thing together and taking it apart and all that good stuff. Also, like, share, subscribe, and definitely check out the packs that I have on the site. That really supports the effort for me to continue doing this. I had a free sample pack for the whole month of November 2024, and that time has passed. So now we're in December. Everything is basically back to its normal price. Some things are on sale, and I'm adjusting, and I'm gonna be uploading some new stuff as we go. I've been working on them because I didn't want to dump one at a time. I wanted to dump a couple of them at a time. So you should be getting some information on some new packs shortly. But in the meantime, let's get into this build. So far, it looks really clean the way that it's been sprayed. I put 2 coats of paint on it, and all I have left to do is to flip it over once it's dry and paint the inside. That way you can't see the clear parts through, because right now, from this angle, it looks like the MPC word itself is seeing some of the clearness of it, but it could just be shadow and light that's messing with me, because I don't want to touch it until it's really dry. So I'm gonna give it like another 35, 40 minutes to fully dry before I touch it. And then I'll flip it over, spray the inside of it, and I'll let it sit for like a couple hours before I worry about installing it. Okay, it's been all day. I let it sit for a couple of hours, and it came out pretty good. I had to add an extra layer to it just to make sure the color really sat well for what I needed. And I think I'm gonna let it sit for another couple of days just because it's kind of sticky and I want it to really, really fully dry before I take it off. And then I think I'm gonna put a coat on the inside just to, shore it up. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. But right now, I like how it's coming out. I think it looks really good. I tried to pick it up and it's still kind of a little damp. I don't wanna mess with it and screw it up. So we're gonna leave it like this till tomorrow morning and see how it comes out in the morning. These came out really, really good. I mean, look at how clean that looks. There was a little bit of dribble at the bottom that you can notice if I flip it up. I don't know if the camera's gonna pick it up, but other than that, this came out really well. And nobody's gonna see that part of it. Again, I might order the plastic gray ones, but I just wanted to do this as a project, and it's one of those things that's just kind of fun for me. So this is my MPC 1000, and overall, I have no complaints with the unit. Everything on it is rock solid. I do have one button that's been acting kind of funky, which is this button right here, which means that I probably have to start looking at replacing the tack screws sometime in the near future. But right now, it's not a big issue, so I'm not stressing about it. So let's turn it off and let's take this thing apart. And let's start replacing all the pieces. Oh, and before I do that, so for this build, what comes in the kit from Mike for the skin is the top panel and the front plate. And what I did was I ordered the gray glass, or plastic, I should say. The one that I saw on Ghost in the MPC's page was using the black surround, which makes it more like the 2000 XL, because the 2000 XL had the black piece that goes around it, around the screen. But I felt like the gray just looked so much better that I wanted to go with that. And I think this worked out really well. It installed pretty easily. You just glue it in on the sides and it locks into place. And I'm gonna go ahead and get started taking this thing apart. Now, the 1000 has been just a joy to work on. I have no real complaints about this unit. I have had no real problems with this unit, for that matter. It just gets the job done. You know what I mean? Like, that's one of the things I love about certain pieces of gear, that when you find the right piece, it just works. And you just put the work in. It doesn't mean that some other tool can't do the job, but it's good to find the ones that work for you, and then you just put those to work. So the plastic seems to have like a little clip on it. I'm trying not to break it, so I'm gonna take my time and slowly wedge the pieces out. There we go. And I always recommend lining things up before you install anything. That way you take it and you just move it at the same time, and you ensure that the pieces line up and match. And so far I got 1, 2, 3 clips in, and the last clip is being super stubborn, because that is usually the case, right? The last one always wants to be super difficult. And there we go. So the front plate is easy. And the cool thing about the front plate is it's really not a lot to do. I mean, there's the one screw that holds it on the front and 2 screws on the bottom, and then that's it. For anybody who doesn't know, this is the drive bay on MPC 1000. It has a very different connector than what you normally see. And the adapter is a 3M serial port adapter of sorts. It's really old. It's kind of like a gamer port thing that you could then use an adapter to IDE to then connect it, and then an adapter to SATA. I could totally do that and install a drive on here, but I've had no real issues with compact flash. I store everything between my machines via Dropbox and other tools, so I didn't really see a reason to do it. Also, I thought the kit for it was a little pricey for what it is, because it's an older part. No different from when you have the zip drives. With zip drives, because they're becoming rarer and rarer, they're becoming more expensive to replace. So I didn't want to bother with it. I figured I'll deal with it later. So in the meantime, this thing is great. Also, what's kind of cool about this thing is the front end unit from here, the headphones, the foot switches, and the compact flash reader. This entire unit is the same one that you find inside of the 5000. So again, parts that you can find between the two that work well together, and it gives you a little bit more leverage to find more pieces when you need them. So the front plate I'm gonna put off to the side. Let's get these side panels off. Now this 1000, when I got it, it was used from Guitar Center and it was really clean. Like I really lucked out with this unit. Like really, really lucked out with this unit. I saw a lot of banged up ones, and this one just had minor scrapes, nothing too crazy. So I figured, let me just take a chance on it. And I opened it up and took a look at the inside of it, and it really wasn't that dirty. So I didn't do the super deep clean like I did with the 5000, where I was just like, you know what, let me just do this because I'm not gonna do it again for a very long time. And like I said, I think I really just lucked out with the build itself. Like, it was just in good condition. The person took care of it, which I appreciate. Thank you for taking care of this. And it's in good hands going forward. Now, the only thing that sucks about the older gear is the compatibility thing. The machine's not compatible with 24-bit anything. It's only 16-bit 44.1, which is not a problem because I work in Logic to do my final mixes. And Logic will convert things to match. It's gotten better over the years. Before, you had to really make sure everything matched. It had to be exactly, like if you're gonna do 44.1, you could only do 88.2 because that's easy multiplying for the computer. All the sine waves are gonna be matching. It's just doubling the information to make it match. You don't really want to upscale audio because when you upscale audio, it kind of does like a dithering effect. And I'm calling it that. I know that's not what it's really called, but it kind of does do a dithering effect. And what ends up happening is it does an aliasing effect. I'm sorry, I've been calling it the wrong thing, calling it dithering. An aliasing effect. And the aliasing effect will actually make the sound worse. So what you want to do is make sure that they match. So when you go from 24-bit 96K going down to 24-bit 48K is easy math for a computer. It's vice versa as well. If you're going up, it wants to do easy math from 48K up to 96K. So because it's 16-bit, it causes issues with newer machines that run 24-bit. But the softwares nowadays, even like the MPC2 software, Pro Tools, Logic, all of them, they tend to compensate. What I find that works best is if you take the session that is 16-bit 44.1 and bring it in first, then you can do some transitional changes. You can't convert it in the DAW, but I feel like it compensates and matches, or it'll keep the session in 16-bit, and then when you do the final export, then you can export it to 24-bit 44K. So like I said, this one's not so bad. The pads are clean. Just a little bit of dust here and there. I don't have any pad triggering issues with mine. There is a little bit of a gap because of the age of the pads, but it doesn't really affect the way I play things. Since I do have it open though, I am going to use a little bit of deoxit on the contacts for the faders. And some of the contact switches have been having just a little bit of a hard time. So I'm gonna see if I can take them out.
6.5 hours later.
The cool thing about the older tech is the hardware is pretty easy to work on. The newer stuff, because the components are tinier, it gets harder and harder and harder for you to really like get in and dig into things. So you try not to break it. Now I am a little concerned about this because I don't want to break the jog wheel. I just need to pop this thing off. Ah, there we go. That was really on there. Like, why was this on there so much? Like, geez. The machine itself is just really solid. And I'm like talking it up so much because I love this thing. I want to say it's a close second to the MPC 2000 XL as a machine I enjoy using. And I've grown to love it more and more over the years. When I first got it the first time around, again, like I said, I had the blue one, bad pads, et cetera, et cetera. I actually was thrown off by the placement of the buttons because I was so used to the 2000 XL with the pads on the right, the controls on the left, you know, the transport controls on the left. You know, I just had all the little tricks that I would do where I'd be on the pads with one hand and I'd press record and you hit note repeat and you can use the jog wheel to turn at the same time while holding note repeat. It's a little bit trickier on this one for me because it's like reversing the thinking and doing it the other way. Also with the JJOS installed, it's a little bit different because you can just select it. So it just does it one time. But overall, I have no real complaints about this machine. Off screen, I'm referencing a picture of where the buttons were. I don't want to put the buttons back the wrong way and have to take this thing back apart again just to put the buttons back in the right position. All right, so on to the sexy bits. You heard how that popped on. That's probably not coming off. So that's just what it is. Oh, that's already looking good. That's looking real good. I'm trying to take my time because I want to make sure I get the buttons in to the right position. So now I think we're good to go. And the only thing I have left to do is from the old case, I have to transfer these little pegs. Now they use a little bit of a, looks like a gluish tape, double-sided glue tape thing. I don't have that. So for me to do this, I'm gonna do something slightly more permanent. So I'm gonna use a little bit of super glue, but I'm going to only do like a dab, like just a really tiny dot, because you don't need a lot. You get it lined up and in position, and you just put it down. I'm not going to replace this case anytime soon, so I'm not too worried about that. Now, if you're not able to do all of the minor things necessary for maintenance, upgrade, and repairs on your unit, it's okay to just go to MPC stuff and get the parts. They have like almost all the parts for the 1000 in their warehouse. And they're very accommodating. All right, so let's get this thing back together. And you know what, before that, I think I am gonna clean this pad off just a little bit. I'll be right back. And the thing that's actually kind of cool about the 1000s pads is there's these little notches on the bottom. They all line up. There's 9 of them. I think this is the only one that's like this because I don't remember my 2000 XL having it like that. And the 5000, I think it only has like 2 notches and it can be slightly off and it adjusts once you put the case on, but like this is not going anywhere because it's all solid in one place. Yeah, there we go. So like right now I'm just checking the fitment because I want to make sure things line up. And I'm not doing this with the other ones because like I said, they're clear. And the goal with the other ones is to make sure that it fits properly before I put those on because I don't want to put it on and then damage it. And I know eventually they'll get scratched and I have paint for it. Unfortunately, MPC stuff did not have the gray panels at all in stock. However, they may order some or make some if there's a demand. That was a conversation we had. In the back, it's just 3 screws. All right, looking good, looking good. There's 1 screw inside. All right, only a couple more screws to go. Of course, it's the last thing that doesn't want to go together, right? Oh, okay. It's you two causing all my headache. This is why I was putting the side panels on. I think when I had flipped it over for the other side, because it's aluminum, I think I bent it slightly. So it didn't fit right, but now we're good. Can't wait to fully look at this and see if it lives up to my vision for it. Let's take a look at it. Now this looks nice. Not bad for a guy that's not a real modder, but the jog wheel feels good. All the buttons, levels feel good. Let's turn her on. And I now have my 2000 XL Micro. So now that we are at this point with the unit, what we want to do is check and test everything. So load up a session. Now I may take this back off because the one thing I did notice that I want to fix is this is not as flush as I would like it to be. But for now, it's not bothering me. I do like how it's set up. I just need to flex this part of the case just slightly so it can sit down, because it does sit up slightly, just a smidge. But the rest of the buttons are right where they need to be. Everything moves smoothly. Yeah, so you want to check everything. The MPC 1000 has a pretty clever way to do that. First and foremost, let's make sure the contrast looks good. All you have to do is hold the stop button down and you can dial in the contrast. I don't normally set it high because just from my own behavior, I have it leaned like this normally. So from that angle, I don't really need the contrast to be too high. If I was looking at it sideways like I'm currently looking at it, I would definitely need it to be more at an angle. So that would make it darker and richer, but also I don't want to burn out the LCD screen. I might replace the LCD screen at some point, but I don't have an issue with it. It actually is perfectly fine. So there's no real reason to rush to do anything about that. If I hit Shift and F1, I can do the button test and the Q-Link test. So everything on the Q-Links are working fine. The buttons will become dark if they work or if they don't work. So if they don't work, they don't fill in. If they work, they fill in. So let's go through all of them. All right, all the other buttons, so far so good. Remember that one, mode, main. Yeah, it looks like we're good. All right, I am happy with this. Oh yeah, data wheel. I almost forgot. It's actually kind of cool with a little tiny thing on here. So, and then I can clear it all, but I don't really need to because all you have to do to exit is hit Shift main to exit. So now I'm back on the main screen. Let me take you on a little closer look at it. So this is the MPC 1000 with the 2000 XL mod, and it looks really, really nice. I'm really liking this one. It's clean. The lines are smooth. The only thing that's rough on it is the paint job slightly on the side panels. But again, like I said, I'll probably end up getting the plastic ones if they order them. If they have them in stock, I will definitely switch over to that over this, but it's not a huge deal. And because I have the paint, and I think I did a good job, you guys can tell me what you think about the paint job. I think I did a good job matching this color paint to this and to this. It is slightly darker, but it's so minimal that you don't notice it. But if they do order the gray plastics, it would be nice because I think this looks good with the 2000 XL 3000 aesthetic. I like the classic look. I kind of wish the 5000 had that look, but it just never got a chance to do that. There's skins for it, but I don't like the skins. I've been looking at them and comparing, and I'm not a huge fan of the way the skins look. But this, I'm pleasantly impressed and surprised by how well it came out. So not bad. I mean, it came out really clean overall, and I'll hold it up a little bit closer for you guys to see. Try to get the glare out of the way. And I like it. You know, I like it. Everything looks good. The build quality is pretty solid. And I have no complaints. Overall, I would give this, I would give my build for this a 7 out of 10. I'm not gonna give it a perfect score because, you know, I'm not a mod guy like that. I mean, I'm still starting to learn and get into this more. I think, like I said, the build that Ghost and MPC did was just chef's kiss. I think it was perfect. So this, I think, is pretty close. It's not exact, but I'm happy with the end result of what I got for this. And I think it looks good. What do you guys think? I mean, yes, it doesn't do anything to the sound. It doesn't add anything to it. But, you know, for me, I felt good about the decision. It wasn't that pricey. It's a minor mod. I just think for the aesthetic and the feel of it, I'm excited with the way this looks. And the bonus is that I have a spare panel in case of anything. If something goes wrong or something doesn't feel right, I can always go back to the old panel. But I don't think I'm gonna do that. I think I'll just keep this spare part. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate the viewership. And I'm gonna keep going with everything. I should have some new content with the 1000, AKA the Micro 2000 XL. I'm gonna keep saying that until we call it the Micro 2000 XL. This is the Micro 2000 XL. I'm gonna keep going with that. This is really, really cool. I like this. I like the way this looks. Catch you guys next time.